This video is just about my quick first impressions of the FX30. I was debating between that and the FX3. I went with the FX30 just because it has a few features that are not yet updated on the FX3. I don't know if they will be or not. Focus breathing compensation, the oversampling from 6K, but I like that because then I can just add filters or soften it in post, or add a specific grade that can, make it look a bit softer, but when I need it to be sharper, it's gonna have a sharper image. I don't mind the Super 35 sensor. Plenty of great films have been shot on full frame and Super 35, so that's just a matter of preference to me, I believe, and I don't mind that. But I just think that for a less price and having focus breathing compensation, oversampling from 6K, the webcam option, different things like that, to be able to have a camera that can create content and also shoot, your first couple of films or, first couple of projects that you want to go in that direction. It was just a better camera for me as a beginner. Again, if you're more advanced or if you're shooting other stuff, great. Now, I've shot with more expensive cameras like the Red camera line. I owned a Red Mysterium X. I've shot on the Red Helium, Black Magic camera, the Pocket 4K. So I've shot on different cameras, but I just like Sony's form factor with this one. It's just easily portable. I can take it different places and just put it in a backpack. I can rig it up or rig it down like any other camera. And then obviously for content creating, the autofocus is just, you can't beat it unless, again, I don't know every other camera manufacturer, maybe another camera company has better autofocus. If they do, you guys would know better. But for me, this is my first camera with autofocus. I come from Red and Black Magic. They didn't have reliable autofocus, so I never used it. But for content creation and stuff that I want to post on YouTube, this is way simpler. So I went with the FX30 over the FX3 just for those simple little things. I use G Master lenses, so I want the focus breathing compensation, and they might update that into the FX3, which I hope they do. I'm pretty sure they will. But if they don't, this camera has it over that. It's just calculate. I really can't stand you have to calculate. You only have to do that once. How many times do you have to do 24 actually ends up being a 35? How many times do you have to do that? Now, for the people who argue, I'll never get a true 1.4. Like if you have an aperture or t-stop of 1.4 and you're never actually going to get that depth of field because you're just not going to get it, especially if you're doing focal equivalent. If you're lining up things the same as a full frame camera, let's say you have an A cam that's full frame, you're just not going to get that depth of field out of a APS-C sensor. I'm okay with that. I don't mind having a 2.1. I really don't mind. And if you're shooting narrative, every single shot is not blurred out in the background. It's not the bokeh or bokeh doesn't have to be insane. That's just like on specific shots. But I really appreciate this form factor. I like that it's so well made and it really feels good in your hand. I thought it would feel way lighter, but it really feels good in your hand, even though it's only like 1.5 pounds or something like that. It really feels good. The A7 IV as well feels even heavier. I'm pretty sure the FX3 is heavier as well because of the full frame sensor, and then you put the battery and anything else on it. But I love the way it's built. I really like the Cine EI because it really forces you to light correctly, and it really forces you to use other equipment and not blame the camera for lighting or underexposing or overexposing. It really forces you to do it correctly in the camera. And obviously there's some people that are really skilled with the Cine EI already and have been using it for however long, all the years that it's been in top-end Sony cameras, so they know how to, kind of push their exposure index into the shadows so that it can remove more noise, and they can crush their shadows a little more so that it doesn't have all that noise, and they know how to, kind of compensate for the highlights and all that. I'm learning all that, so hopefully I'll get better with using Cine EI, but I like how it works because it forces you to have to light better and use your camera more properly. So I like that. And that's about it, man. Everything else on this camera, the new menu system, I like. The monitor with all the information kind of placed more around the edges so that you can see the center of the monitor. It really makes this small monitor look like it's actually bigger because it just clears the middle of the frame, and I really appreciate that. And I got it from SAMY'S Camera. Shout out to SAMY'S Camera. Overnight shipping. I overnight ship everything because I'm the most impatient person. I can't wait around for things. So I overnight shipped it from Sammy's Camera all the way in LA to Florida, and they did a great job, packed it so well, shipped it quickly, and you know, it was awesome. They're one of the only places that had it in stock at all. So shout out to Sammy's Camera. But the FX30 is a great camera, especially for a beginner like me. If you're more advanced and you see other features that you may need in another camera, that's awesome. But I really love this camera. And here's some test footage.